Welcome to this tutorial on chat agents. I'm going to quickly show you how to use a chat agent before going step by step on how to create one and have your own agent. So simply, if I want to create an agent, in this case, let's say to create a post, a LinkedIn post, I'm just going to first grab a little information from Haiku because that's why it's used. So just any latest news and go back on my chat application. Select an agent and LinkedIn post creator. So for instance, here I'm going to create my post and you can see I have a little template with a little information, a few information that I'm going to be able to select bit by bit to create my LinkedIn post. So every one of this information I have created myself. I put what I have just copied from Haiku to get a little up-to-date context, and I'm going to send my information. So as you can see, in a few clicks, I have my post content for LinkedIn with everything that I asked, a few emojis, a few hashtags, options for my title, and of course, it's up to date thanks to Haiku. So that's how you would use, for instance, an agent on chat. How would you make it? It's very simple and everything happens right there. All the magic happens on the library. When I select it and I go on the chat, I'm going to be able to describe my agent. It's from here that everything's going to work. But before creating your agent, there's one notion that's important to understand. It's the notion of the variable, their nature of the variables. That's what's going to be key in your agent, what you're going to be able to create, and what's going to change from one use of the agent to the other. From all these variables, you have these 6 options: inline text, block text, select, checkboxes, radio, and code. It's important that you remember the title of these ones so that you're going to be able to use it in the right way when you create it. So inline text looks like this. Simple text that you're going to write in it. Block text is going to be a bigger text that's going to adapt to the size of your information. Select is going to be one option that you're going to be able to choose from a list of options, while checkboxes, you're going to be able to choose multiple options in the list. Radio, you're going to be able to select one option in the list that's visible. And finally, code content, that's going to allow you to do some coding. So that's very important to remember the name of each of these variables. Now, let's go back to create it. If you want to create your own agent, you're going to want to describe it from the library. You're going to describe the agent right here. You're going to want to be precise in what you ask. For instance, I want an agent to create a LinkedIn post. I want 2 variables. The first is of the nature select to define the tone of the post. The second is of nature checkboxes to define the audience target of the post. So as you can see, I have defined the nature of each variable and their objective. That's very important to be precise, and that's why you have to know the name of the variables to be able to be precise when you say. And when I launch a generation, he's going to do exactly what I wanted with 2 variables, one with a tone that's going to be in select, and one with the audience, which is checkboxes, in which I can select different options. So that's going to be a good first draft of my agent. But now if I want to improve it, if I want to change it, you can see that on the right side, I have the preview of what's going to be in my agent when I use it from the chat. And on the left side, my editing text in which I can add any sentence and any variable that I want. So of course, you can add anything. You can write something. I want the post to take an example on the best, for example. That's very quite vague, but we're going to insist on the quality of the post. But if I want to improve and add some variables, I have this little button top right that's going to allow me to enter instructions. For instance, add a block text variable to allow additional information. Once again, I have given the nature of the variable and the objective. And when I do improve, he's going to add just that. I have a new variable, additional information, ... I can also change the variable audience to add some information. I can say, take the variable tone and remove this option or add precisely this option. You can enter any instruction that you want as long as you're precise. You say which variable you want to add or modify and what you want to change on it. And of course, you can also add manually a variable. For example, let's name this one hashtags. Say it's going to be a radio, and I'm going to want yes or no, whether I want hashtags or not. So now you can see that in my list of variables, I have hashtag that has appeared, and I'm going to say include hashtags, add the variable yes or no. When you add or remove any variables handmade from this little list, you can simply add the variables as I have shown you right there, and you can always change them. For instance, if I go back to my hashtag variable and select the little settings, you can see that I can still change its name, change its nature, and change any options that I have included. So that's, of course, is always editable. What's important to understand is the little name that you have put is only for you to be able to find and define every one of these variables. When you say improve, you can say I want to change audience variable, I want to change tone, so that you can find it. This is not going to be taken into account when you actually use the agent. So now I have my agent with different natures of variables with different objectives, with enough context for the chat to understand, and now all that's left is to try it. So if I go back to the chat, select an agent, and use LinkedIn post creators, you can find exactly what we were seeing on the preview in my library. And now I can say, I want a professional with students, additional information. Well, I can always go back to actually to add something, include hashtags, let's say yes, and use the same information. And now you can see that I have my post with a few hashtags for LinkedIn. Now, of course, I can also add, I want it short, I want it impactful, emojis, yes, no. That's always something that you can define yourself. Once you've created your agent, you can use it, of course, as many times as you want, and you can also share it back to my library, and you have a little button, Share Status, to allow it to be private or to share it with a specific team of yours inside of your own organization. So all you have to do now is to make the best agents and to show it to all your colleagues.